All right, everyone. I am back for episode 3. I'm just going to continue where I left off last time. Again, I do appreciate anyone who's watching this stuff. It's fun. It's almost creepy how often I check, just because it's not something I ever thought I'd really get around to do. Is try to create content, especially for a guy like myself. I'm not overly funny, not overly like interesting, and it's fun to just do something. I said that the past couple videos, and I mean it. It's fun to have a different outlet than something physical or watching a movie, something like that. And I chose my best T-shirt. I've only had this for like 12 years, barely fucking fits, but I am who I am. I'm a DC fan. Fuck Marvel. I'm kidding. I don't care. I love all of it. I enjoy the contrast between the two, but trying some different settings, a little different audio, trying to make sure it's a little clearer. I think my wife is upstairs, so I can be a little louder, maybe tell some dirtier stories. She's one of the subscribers to the channel anyway, so she's gonna probably hear about this as it is. It is. What are you gonna do? She's a nosy bitch. I love her. She's not nosy. She's very sweet. So I am going to continue. I just enjoyed this because it gives me a reason to have a few drinks. But I'm going to continue with my judging of alcohol. And you know what? I don't think I can get in trouble for this. I just don't think I can. I didn't do any research last time. So I'm going to see what I can do. I'm trying a red wine. Got Meresu. And I've poured the majority of the bottle in the cup already, so I don't have to keep refilling my glass throughout the day. Sun's out, fun's out. It's been rainy and snowy all day, so nothing but no sun. Like I taste a little cherry in there actually, which is kind of funny. Yeah, it's just good. I enjoy it. It's good. Okay, so we left off. I was kind of getting into first grade, second grade, and what a weird time. The transition from where we were from, where we were, getting into my stepdad's place, and kind of building new friendships, new family dynamics anyway. And we're away from the family at this point. Like my immediate's away from my extended for the first time ever at this point. In this age range, and it was such a wild time trying to figure out who my friends were. Who eventually became like my best friends. I'm on the playground, and this kid named Adley. His first name was Adley. What a bad first name. What a fucking bad first Adley. What are you talking about? And he walks up with a kid named Will and a kid named Dane. And they're like, you're the new kid, right? And I go, yeah. And again, I'm wearing my little cowboy stripe fucking, Indian and cowboy shirt and bust head like a little fucking white power kid. And they were like, you're the new guy, yada, yada, yada. We start talking, and they just beat the shit out of me. They just pummeled me on my first day of recess. And I just remember my tongue being busted. So I couldn't eat my food, because like anytime you've got an open cut or open wound in your fucking mouth, it is a pain to do anything. I mean, you can't suck, you can't lick, I mean, you can if you got some nuts on you, but it's tougher. You just have a sensitivity to you. And they came up to me in the cafeteria, which just reminded me of another story I haven't thought about in forever. But came up to me in the cafeteria like, are you okay? I go, I can't eat my food. Like, okay, well, we're sorry for beating you up. I go, well, it's fine, but I still can't chew my stupid fucking ham sandwich. That's all I said. I didn't complain about them beating me up. I'm like, my mouth is killing me, you piece of shit. And after that, we're buddies for forever. I think Adley ended up moving away, maybe killing himself due to his first name. I don't know. Probably didn't kill himself. He was a nice guy. But Will and me and Dane and I, we're best friends for the rest of our lives at that point, up until the end of high school where you tend to transition to your college buddies. But damn, it was just, you get your ass kicked, and after that, you literally just become friends. That's exactly how easy it was. I mean, it's so weird. Like, guys are so different in that regard. Like, where if a couple women get into an argument, you might not ever talk to that person again. If you get physical, I have a good feeling that if you're a female, you're not going to go back to talking with that individual because fuck that person. You just got into a fist fight. I mean, a guy you could sucker punch that guy in the nuts in the middle of the fight, pull his hair, poke him in the ass, and the next day, as long as you're the right kind of friends prior, you might be just buddies, but if you can somehow just go, dude, that was a bad night, or that was stupid, that shouldn't have happened. You're best friends for forever. A barrier gets broken down so quick. It's a little different if you fuck your buddy's girl, that's for sure, but it's definitely if you get physical with a guy that you're kind of buddies with, and if you guys handle it the right way, perfect. You guys will never be that close. Women just don't understand that one thing about men when it comes to that alphaness that we always try to present ourselves as, and if anybody ever has any interest in like watching bloopers, just bloopers by themselves. Like on my lunch break, I got a new phone. I don't know why. I haven't logged back into Netflix. I don't watch Hulu on it anymore. I just keep watching bloopers on YouTube. That being said, I don't know what it is, but Ricky Gervais is grown on me, and I have no idea why. I think his laugh is annoying. Everything about the guy's kind of pretentious and a bit of a dick. And when I watch his bloopers or watch his shows even, I can't get enough of the guy. But he's got this one character that he has in like every one of his shows where he's just this fucking dumpy dude. He's a drunk. And in this show called Derek is the show. And the blooper is just him going, I'm an alpha male. And the way he says it cracks me up. But every guy wants to be an alpha male. Doesn't matter what you think you are. Or what you really believe you are. Like everyone wants to be an alpha male. And it's not for everybody. I'm not an alpha male. It depends on the group, but what a weird fucking term to call yourself in general. And I just did it, so it just shows how fucking weird I am too. And cheers. But kind of back to that point, as long as you're not that fucking alpha male, you don't fight me kind of thing, and you just take it for what it is. You guys had a disagreement. You guys aren't buddies. Now you're best friends. There's some, you just turn a corner. I don't know what it is. It's so wild. You can get into a fist fight with a guy over nothing. Half the time it's nothing. And you just, you work it out. It's done. But back to so first grade, so many, that's the gross part about this whole thing I'm doing is not only is this a self-pretentious and, a bit of a stuck up thing I'm doing, I'm trying to start a podcast just in my basement. But it's all about me, obviously. So far, I don't intend on this being just me. I want, the fact that, and this is stupid, but the fact that I've had as many viewers as I've had, I thought it'd be 3. Not that 56 or 66 or whatever it's at is a lot, but I just didn't think it'd be any. And I've got I've got 3 subscribers, and one of them's my wife. It just makes me smile. It's such a gross feeling. Every time I get a new view, I call my sister, who is shit. I mean, the way her and I talk to each other, this is toned down version of me. It's me just telling you stories, and like I'm doing right now, rambling, moving on from one subject to another, with almost zero flow. I call her every day. I go, this is so gross, and I feel so creepy because I just keep looking. Who did anybody else watch it? Holy cow! I almost feel awkwardly famous, and there's not even 100 people. Yeah, so it makes me smile, but it's just been a good time. But kind of back to that, where the amount of memories I've had just by thinking about what do I want to talk about, or how do I extend the conversation a little bit further down the line, is all the gross fucking memories I have from being a kid, being a young boy. Oh my God, being a young boy is so fucking nasty. I mean, I'm sure being a girl, I cannot imagine what it would be like to be a girl. As a guy, you have a dick, and you have an asshole, and that's kind of the only thing. That's kind of the only thing you get to figure out. Eventually, you find out that your dick shoots shit or jizz out of the tip, and then you're like, all right, I can shove stuff up my ass. Okay, that's not that wild of an exploration. It's just your exploration is what makes my dick hard. Okay, it's a million things. It's an endless number of things. So it's an ever-going search, but it's a simple search. What makes my dick hard? As a woman, you've got your tits and your nipples, and you've got, you get, as a I'm coming from a heterosexual, viewpoint, so just take what I say with a big grain of salt. But like, stuff goes in my mouth, stuff goes in my pussy, stuff goes in my ass if I'm wild enough, and there's a lot more adventure to it. And I think what has always made me like kind of confused by getting fucked in my ass. Not I'm not confused by why other guys would like it. Like, people are people. Everyone's got certain preferences, but you have desires that maybe I just don't align with. That's life. Imagine that. And I just can't imagine going from where I'm at right now, where all I've ever done is I go into things. I put my little pee-pee inside stuff. And we'll get into that kind of detail as well, probably tonight. I've been dying to tell this one story because I know that my family or my sister, who finds it to be funny when we talk about how gross this shit was as kids. I would never talk to her about stuff that I do with my wife or anything like that. But like being children, and you start to like open up and tell stories about like, this is fucking disgusting, but here's something that happened. It's just you're children doing weird stuff. But like being a woman, like a heterosexual woman, and well, fuck, even a homosexual, people go into you. People put stuff in you. You're being entered. You're like a cave. People are being, they're exploring you, your fucking holes. As a heterosexual man, you're not putting shit in my ass, because the idea in my head is, if I like it, I'm gay. Well, obviously, that's not the reality, but I don't want to take a chance. I don't want to take a chance. My brother's gonna find out. He's gonna beat the shit out of me. We just talked about it. He's gonna fuck me up no matter what I do. But if I'm gay, I'm gonna get double beat up, double gay beat up. And but like being a kid, being in elementary school, back to where I was at. In elementary school, like I got my ass kicked, meet some of my best friends of all time, and but I remember being in first grade, kind of getting used to the lay of the land, and I have no idea why I would do this, but this is exactly why I prefaced it with all of this. Man, I just don't understand it, but our guys are gross and just fucking, you just do weird shit. As a young boy, I would sit in, I'll just say Mrs. F's room, or Miss F. I don't think she was married. And I'd wear these little shorts, like they'd hit me like up, mid thigh or low thigh, right above the knee. And I would tuck the leg back to my pelvis, like kind of my upper thigh, and I'd pull my little nuts and my pee-pee out at the bottom. I have no idea why. I wasn't a sexual being at that point. I'm sure it felt kind of cool to have it in the open air, but I would sit there and I'd pull my shorts up, tuck my nuts and my wiener and to the bottom of the back of my hamstring, and dangle them for the classroom. And no one ever said a word. I remember one kid, Cameron G. That little fucker. I just remember him going, and I just tucked him right back in and didn't say a fucking word. No idea why I would do that. I would do it all the time. Never got caught. Cameron saw it once. I stopped. It wasn't a sexual thing. I had no release. I'm surprised I did not become a public purveyor of nudity at that point, but a flasher, if you will. But yeah, one of the weirdest things of all time. I don't know why I did it. I don't have any affection to flashing my junk in public. If I'm changing in a locker room at 34, I'm pants down, little gut hanging over the top, my titties dancing, and I put on my other underwear and I pull and I sit right back up. Dick was barely seen. I have no interest of showing my pecker, even as a human being, in a place where people expect to probably see some dick. Okay. So it just was a weird thing that I did, and to see where I'm at now, what I don't do, and when I just don't understand why I did stuff that in that regard, it's funny that it happened. It's confusing as all hell that that's what I would do. Pull my little pecker out in my nuts and just dangle them for my first grade class. But only one guy saw it, and he didn't tattle, and we didn't fuck each other. So what are you going to do? But that kind of, like I was saying, the memories that keep popping up. I remember one time I'm in elementary class, and like we were poor. We had no fucking money. We always got the free lunches, and they'd give us the ticket, or you'd have to get your weekly tickets. And if you lost one, you're fucked. It doesn't matter. They just would think that you gave it to a friend. Doesn't matter what age you were, especially in high school. And I had my free lunch ticket. I go get my free lunch. It's always your fucking piece of shit, garbage, public school lunch shit. Part of my S word usage there was pretty poor utility of the English language, but I got hot ham and cheese sandwich on a piece of crap white bread bun, probably some sort of potato or starch, maybe a veggie or fruit cup, some fucking lima beans, disgusting lima beans. They had lima beans every chance they could. It has to be the cheapest vegetable, the grossest texture, and they threw it in every goddamn hot lunch at school. It was terrible. But I remember specifically they would always they had hot ham and cheese every other day, it felt like. And it was every other day that I would literally take that sandwich, open it, take the hot ham and cheese, and just duck it underneath the table and just zing that motherfucker as far as I could down the table, just so no one would know it was me. And I was actually pretty good at chucking that fucking thing, oh, no one's over there, chuck, and just chuck a hot slice of ham. I did it probably 6 or 7 times over the course of a few months, obviously. And on the last time I did it, our superintendent was in class, or in lunch during that period, and he found it. He found it because there apparently was some talking going around about some hot ham and cheese guy chucking food on the floor. And he held us, he screamed, man, this guy's a big old boy, big old farm guy, and he's got his own petting zoo. He has so much money and he's so bored and such a fun dude at the same time. He has his own petting zoo in his backyard just because he wants to. He doesn't charge you to come out and pet him. Just, hey, I got a llama, got some goofy shit back here, come pet it and see how you do. And he is, who is throwing the ham? And I almost broke. I mean, we sat there, I'm not kidding you, no less than half an hour. He held up class because I am the guy chucking ham into the kitchen in the cafeteria, and no one's telling on me. I mean, I think my buddies knew. I don't remember if they did. I didn't sit there and make a big deal hey, I'm fucking poor, but I can't eat this shit. Chuck. No. I'm just certain that I was good enough, or my memory just didn't sustain that memory well enough that nobody was going to tell on me. And I almost broke because I'm not a guy that hides information. I'm not a liar. In my profession and my job, if I'm going to lie, I'm going to get caught immediately, and I'm going to get fired immediately. There's no way around it. Your excuses go nowhere. So I'm sitting there just going, I'm going to tell on myself. Oh my God, it's Mr. Buman. I just said Mr. Buman. Hey, Mr. Buman, it was me. Fucking come get me, bro. That being said, I'm not good at not name dropping. I'll just say that. I'm going to say some names. I just don't know if it's appropriate. But Mr. Buman's a good dude. And own petting zoo, you might be able to find him online. I don't know. Don't tattle, please. And I almost tattle on myself. And he goes, no more. As long as I don't see any more, we're done here. And we just move on. He just dropped it. I went back to class. I just stopped throwing the cheese, or hot ham and cheese. And I would just sit there and just throw the ham on my plate, eat the bread. I got some carbs in me, move on with my day. But God, I hated that so much. I hated getting in trouble. I hated getting caught. Or in that case, almost getting caught. I was too big of a puss to even it's me. I fucking hate this food here. Could have been a tough guy. I am not a tough guy. Could have been a tough guy. Should have been a tough guy. Could have been a tough guy. Absolutely don't have any bone in my body to be a tough guy. So year goes by. I'm in 2nd grade, and then I get to 3rd grade. I get Mrs. Richter. Name drop again. I have no intention of this. I'm drinking now. First episode I wasn't drinking. It's a problem here. But I am not an alcoholic, and it's in the title. I've changed the name from Big Shane to Big Shane is not an alcoholic because I'm going to have a drink every time we do this. Once a week. I drink a lot more than that, but I'm not an alcoholic. But Mrs. Richter, 3rd grade teacher. Awesome. Kind of a stout lady. And actually one of my favorite people. She was the first time I ever wrote something that I actually really liked that I wrote. That I was kind of proud of something I wrote. I always had full intentions of being an English teacher, Listen to the way I talk, the way that I ramble. Imagine me trying to teach that. It's not going to be a good teacher. And so, third grade was tough though. That was not an easy time. I had just fallen in love with a girl named Charlene. She was, oh my God. To this day, I'd leave my wife for her. There was a whole song we dedicated to her. It's a close ripoff. I mean, I wouldn't say word for word because I changed one word, but it was the John Deere Green on a hot summer night. He wrote Billy Bob loves Charlene. And I just changed Billy Bob to Shano Bob. Pretty, pretty on everything. I mean, that was the grossest song of all time. And not because it wasn't cute. I was in second grade, third grade. I loved her. I mean, I didn't love her. I mean, my dick wasn't even getting hard yet. I liked her a lot. She's like my first real crush. I liked the girl Tiffany. She was banging the cartoon dog. It was, obviously didn't bang a cartoon, but I was like, okay. But Charlene was like my first, like, I have a memory of why I liked her. Not just cute, but like, she was new. She seemed kind of put together, I guess, is like mature for her age. Even at that point, I remember just going like, oh my God, she's so pretty. She's clean. She's well dressed. And I had a fucking bowl cut. Everything that you could have had wrong. Like, so I'm going to keep sidestepping because it's just funnier for me. But so she was well put together, good family, a lot of money. And I was not. I looked like shit. I mean, I had a full head of hair, but that was about the extent of what I had going. I remember there was the only Mexican family we had in town. Her name, a lot of names that I could use because it was a big family, big extended family. And I sat next to her in a class, and I would always go, God, she smells like dirty feet, like just like dirty shoes. And it just reminded me of like gym shoes. Every day, every single day, I would sit next to her. And I would just go, God, it just smells like unwashed something. And that went on for about 2 years that I thought it was her. And I'm not kidding you. I am not kidding you. One day I just go like this in a specific desk setup, or some desk like your feet are more out front so you don't smell that. Or in this one, like I had my feet more underneath me, and because it was a taller desk, yada, yada, yada. Maybe it wasn't 2 years, but it was a very long time. I realized it was me. I was the fucking stinky kid. I was the stinky kid in school, and I'm over here blaming the minority because, of course, white privilege, what are you going to do? I felt like shit. I didn't ever tell her, hey, I've been thinking you're a stinky fucking cow this whole time. I went, God, that's what you deserve. You deserve to feel that pain. You thought it was her. I don't know if it was a racial thing, unconscious bias kind of thing. I didn't have a racist bone in my body. It wasn't like I was like, oh, fucking brown people. I thought it was just like, this girl is gross. No, it was me. Cut back to, I'm singing this song at this girl, at this girl. She's not listening to it. She doesn't want to hear it. Shayna Bob loves Charlie. It went nowhere. Absolutely fucking nowhere. I mean, you could have pressed charges on me for how often I would chase her on the playground. It's gross. I mean, looking back at it, it's a young boy being a young boy. But, I mean, the parents thought it was cute. But when I look back at it, I feel like I sexually assaulted people. Public indecency, you could say. I mean, but what was good about that? You grew out of that stage, and it was nice that I had, enough time with her. We went all the way through high school together. She knew who I was. Like, I wasn't this little creep boy who didn't know how to shower. I was just in love, man. It was just first girl, first crush, and it was tough. It was very, very tough to move on because, I mean, I liked her up until 8th grade was over. But then again, if she would have asked me like senior year to go on a date, I would have said yes on a dime. But she's like my best friend. She's awesome. She's married to a senator's son. He's a good dude. They do well. I don't even know why I'm talking about her. Fuck her. She's not here. And but no, it was good memories thinking about how like it actually turned out to be pretty cool. Good friendship. But the reason I I remember Mrs. Richter so much is that I didn't do any homework for her class. And we would take it home, bring it back, and you get a grade. It got to the end of maybe the first semester, you're coming up on Christmas break or something like that. I had turned in one out of like 30 projects or pieces of homework, whatever it was. Yeah, I made a comment in the last video. I would have to take trash out to this barrel. I would literally bring homework home, as you do, and I would just throw it in the garbage. And I would put it in the burn pile next to the pile of dead pigs and light that fucking thing on fire. My mom had no idea I had any homework. Again, was she that tied to teaching one fucking asshole how to read and write? No. I mean, I also just lied to her through my teeth. Oh, I got it all done. Hey, you haven't had any homework here. Yeah, get it done, Ma. I'm very intelligent. I'm very smart. Yeah, Shane, you seem smart, you fucking idiot. But by the time that I was basically being told that I have turned in nothing, and if you don't turn something in, you're going to be let go, or not let go, but held back, let go. You're getting fired from elementary school. I freaked out. I mean, I had the anxiety just ripped through my chest. I couldn't have been more upset with I got caught. I'm an idiot. Now I've got to do all this stuff. And oh my God, how am I going to get all of it done? It took a fucking day. It was like a Sunday. I did every homework assignment in a row. It took nothing. It wasn't that I didn't know it. I'm just too fucking lazy. I would lie about reading books so I get those little personal pan pizzas from Pizza Hut. And then I'd have buddies that had got they read 18 books. I've read 3. And I eventually got my fucking bachelor's in English. You know what I mean? It's just, you know how to do it. Why don't you just do it? You fucking lazy piece of shit. But that's the enjoyable part about looking back. You just go, especially me. I'm going to say that I read 3 books. I got buddies that read, can barely read 18. You did 3. You should go and spend fucking 80 grand on a college education to get a bachelor's degree in fucking English. And then do nothing with it. Good man. You are a fucking smart cat. What a good dude. Oh my God, there's nothing worse. The amount of times I look at my student loan bill and I go, you wasted so much time. But at the same time, I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have met the buddies I got. I wouldn't have the up-and-coming Christmas party we're going to with one of the wildest guys I've ever met. Great dude. So, I mean, you pay 80 grand just to have friends at that point. But I got a piece of paper. What are you going to do? But so I didn't do any of the homework. I had to do it all. But I wrote one of the projects that I actually got. I was very excited about. I remember being excited about it. Was about you had to write a poem. You had to write a structure poem. I can't remember if it was a certain syllable set up or if it was like a certain amount of words per line, or I can't remember what it was. But it was something. It was a structure, and I wrote it about Lyme disease and being a tick on a deer. And, the struggles of it was like a very deep poem I'm not kidding you, I was in 3rd grade. And I wrote a poem about being a tick on a deer that could possibly give him Lyme disease. And I thought to myself, and this is how fucking vain I've always been. I thought to myself, I bet she's going to frame it. I bet she'll frame that. No, she fucking threw it right in the garbage, I guarantee it. But the funniest part was that was my favorite. That was the first thing I ever wrote that I went, I think I can write. I think I can write. I at least have the I enjoy writing. So that really led into a lot of who I was as a young man, I never wrote poetry to get laid. I mean, did I try to use it to get laid a few times? Abso-fucking-lutely. You don't write anything without the intent of going, who's going to put this in their mouth? Come on. I've got juice. I've got to get loose. So it was my favorite thing at that point in my life that I had produced. I'd given someone to just play catch up on homework, you lazy fuck. I also remember I was so bad and lazy about taking out the garbage because it wasn't that, in my house now, we got a nice little setup. You go outside the steps, take about 10 steps to the garbage can, I'll say 12. You throw your bag and you wheel it to the front, which is about 30 steps. You're done. That's garbage day. I would have to take a fucking cardboard box full of food and paper and bullshit and yada, 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 and then walk, I'm not shitting you, 80 yards mostly at night or in the morning. And on a farm, you might get coons. I just didn't want to do it. Didn't matter. I had to walk that fucking thing 80 yards, like winding through the gravel road or gravel drive-through. It just sucked. You got cow shit, you got pig shit in the air. You're walking around, it's fucking mud puddles, and you're going out next to a fucking pile of dead pigs. I told you that yesterday, or last episode. I had to walk by dead pigs every time I took the trash out. I was the fucking trash man. I always did it. I had to. That was my fucking thing. I remember I didn't do it for so long, trying to be, a bit of a rebel. And just so they'd say, okay, Shane's done doing the garbage. Perfect. That's all I want. Just don't make me fucking take out the trash anymore. I'll suck my fucking stepdad's dick. I don't want to take out the trash. No more fucking trash. They made me take the trash out. I think it was after 3 weeks of rotting food. My mom made me do that because she knew what I was doing. She knew I was trying to push back. I don't want to do the trash anymore. That's your role, buddy. I ain't doing it. All right, good luck with that. And she hid that in the garage for quite some time. There were maggots in such vast amount in that box. I mean, it's probably an 18 by 12 box, probably 18 inches deep. Just full of rotten food. I mean, food my family ate from the farm, sweet corn like crazy, shit like that. Just a fucking pile of maggots. You could see them just almost shake the garbage. It was so fucking gross. My mom goes, "That's you, buddy." And it got so bad that if my mom's like, "You're doing it now," and they were like forcing me, and of course I'm too big of a fucking puss to go, "No, I'll just kick this thing over and you fucking clean it up. I'm gonna run away." No, I was a puss, and I knew it was my job. I knew it was my job. I just remember, sometimes you carry it up against your belly or your hips, carrying something that kind of oftentimes heavy-ish. But it's a long carry. You can't just sit there and flex your way through it. But the whole time, I'm almost... I got my hands out as far as I can to carry that box as long as I can out in front. Just dry heaving the whole fucking time. I get up to the pile of pigs and I'm about to spew. And I just chuck the whole box, and rightfully so at this point, right into the fucking burn pile. And that was just talk about biting yourself in the ass. I already knew what I had to do. I knew my job. I didn't want to do my job, just like I didn't want to do my fucking homework. And thank God. I mean, looking back at it, they made me do what I said I would do. There's nothing wrong with that. I have never felt bad about being forced to do something I was told I'm going to do. It was my responsibility. I said, "No, thank you, you fucking fat bitch." Oh my God, 3 weeks later, hey, I am fucked, man. I got to do this crazy amount of work, or I got to do this, carry this pile of fucking flies and shit. What an idiot. I never got away with that stuff. And I'm glad I did not. What a dumb thing that I tried to do. I can hear my wife upstairs. Fuck, man. I can never just have a goddamn quiet opportunity to express my heart and soul on this thing.